Today I'm going to show you how to make this mini pumpkin pie. So cute. So you're obviously going to need orange, white, and then like a beigey kind of color, a sewing needle, and then if you're going to do a keychain, you're going to need some jewelry pliers, the materials for the keychain, and then also some polyfill. And then I used a 4.25 millimeter crochet hook. I crochet on the looser side, so you might want to size up a little bit. It's just up to you, you gotta play around. And to start this pattern, we're gonna start off with our beige color and do a magic circle. And then you're gonna put 6 single crochets into the magic circle. So for the next round, you're going to put 2 single crochets into each of the 6 stitches, which means you're going to end this row with 12 stitches. So put 2 single crochets into that first stitch, and then 2 single crochets into the next, all the way around until you have 12 stitches. For this next increase round, you're going to do 1 single crochet into the first stitch and then 2 single crochets into the next. And then you're going to repeat that all the way around until you end with 18 stitches. So 1 single crochet and then 2 single crochets into the next. Repeat, repeat, repeat until you have 18 stitches. For this next round, you're going to put a single crochet into each of the first 2 stitches, followed by 2 single crochets into the next. And then you're going to repeat that all the way around, and you're going to end up with 24 stitches in this row. So 1 single crochet, 1 single crochet, 2 single crochets in the next. Repeat that all the way around. You'll end with 24 stitches. This next round, we're going to switch it up a little bit. So we're just going to put 1 single crochet in the back loops only, all the way around. So you're going to have 24 in this row as well. But as you can see, I'm only doing a single crochet into that back loop. So this is going to build kind of the base for the structure and make it taller without continuing to make it wider around. So you're just going to do a single crochet all the way around, ending in 24 stitches again for this row. So for this round, we're going to do an increase row again, but we're going to switch to half double crochets and we're going to work in the front loops only. So in the first 3 stitches, you're going to put 1 half double crochet into the front loop only. And then in the next, you're going to do 2 half double crochets into the front loop only. And then you're going to repeat that all the way around, and you're going to end up with 30 stitches in this row. Okay, so this is kind of what it's looking like so far. This is going to be your pie shell. So we're going to leave a decent amount of extra yarn and cut that and then tie it off. Just make sure you leave some extra yarn for sewing at the end of this project. So now I'm just going to do a slip knot here, tying that off, and then leaving that excess yarn for sewing later. All right, now you're gonna take your orange. Once again, you're gonna start with a magic circle, and then you're going to put 6 single crochets into the magic circle for the beginning of this part as well. For the next row, you're gonna do an increase round and do 2 single crochets into each of those 6 stitches, ending with 12 stitches. Then we're going to do another increase row, and you're going to do 1 single crochet in the first, 2 single crochets in the next, all the way around until you have 18 stitches. And then for our final row of orange, we're going to do another increase, 1 single crochet in each of the first 2 stitches, followed by 2 single crochets in the next. Repeat that all the way around until you have 24 stitches. And then you can do a slip stitch and tie this off, once again leaving a good bit of excess yarn to do some sewing here at the end of the project. So just tie that off and set it aside, and we'll get back to that in a few minutes. To make our little dollop of whipped cream, we are once again going to start with a magic circle, and you're going to put 6 single crochets into that magic circle. Now this one's going to be a little different. So here we're just going to put a single crochet into each of those 6 stitches. So we're not doing an increase round with the white. So we're just going to do 1 single crochet all the way around, and then you're going to slip stitch and tie it off. So when you're done with that, you're going to turn it inside out. So you're just going to kind of push those edges down and then push that inside outside, so that way those loose ends are on the opposite side, and then you have this nice little bubble, which is going to be your dollop of whipped cream. So now we're going to do some sewing. So I'm going to take that loose end that's in the middle of the white and attach that to my sewing needle. And then I'm just going to go directly through the center of the orange circle and poke that through there and pull that all the way down, so that way I know that this is going to be like centered. And then you can go ahead and remove your sewing needle from that loose end and tie it to the loose end of what you just finished crocheting. And then you're just going to take that and sew that through all of these 6 stitches onto the orange piece. So just go ahead and go through there and sew that on in a complete circle. And then I'm not sure where the footage went, but after I had both of the white loose ends sewn in, I just tied them together and then cut them off. So now we're going to work on sewing these pieces together. So you can cut some of that string off from that very first piece just so it's not in the way. And then we're going to sew our orange pie top onto the pie crust. So I just lined up where I finished the rounds in the same spot, but you can line them up however you want. I just think that's the easiest way to do it. Okay, so you see how we have kind of that inner row of stitches that are kind of emphasized right there? So that's what we're going to sew this piece onto. So line up where you want to start stitching this together. And then you're going to sew in those stitches there, and then like the outer ring of the single crochets on your orange piece. So you can kind of see where I'm placing those. So you're just going to go through that beige part and then the outer ring only on those orange stitches. And then you're going to go until you're about like 3/4 of the way stitched together before we put in some polyfill to stuff it. So you don't need much since this is a small project, so just a little, I don't know, dollop of stuffing and pop that in there. And then you're just gonna kind of have to hold that closed and then sew up these stitches that you have left to finish it off. Once you've stitched all the way around, go ahead and just tuck the needle under some of the starting stitches and stick your needle through the loop and then tie off some knots. And then I just took my sewing needle and I put it through the side of like the whole project, and then I just pulled that through, and then you'll have some extra yarn just kind of hiding in the middle of the project for some slack, and then just cut that off, and then that's all hidden and you're all done with that part. Okay, so as you can see, this outer crust on the pie shell can flip down, which we obviously don't want. So we left that extra yarn in the beginning so we can kind of sew this in and enforce it. So I'm just going to shove the yarn through the other side of the project and then pull that through. And then what that's gonna do is it's just gonna kind of cinch those pieces to the center a little bit. So then just kind of sew through some of these stitches next to where you're at to move farther along to the side. And then you're going to do the same thing and just pull the yarn through to the other side of the project to just reinforce those sides just a little bit. And then once you feel like that outer edge is stable enough, just go through and tie some knots and cut off your loose ends. Now, if you're going to make this into a keychain, you're just going to attach your keychain and your jump ring to wherever you see fit. I just kind of did it on those edges where I started my rounds because that's like the least clean looking part of the project, so it kind of hides it, I guess. But if you wanted to do it through like the dollop of the whipped cream and have it as a horizontal keychain, you could do that too. So I'm just tightening that on there. And you can turn this into a keychain, or you can make a bunch of them and kind of sew them together and make like a pumpkin pie garland. Be creative. I hope you enjoy your new little mini pumpkin pies.